From verses 31 to 40, Arjuna actually says why he wants to get away from the battlefield. When a person is in deep trouble, the first thing that happens is he turns very philosophical. When a person is in deep trouble, that moment he turns very philosophical. And if you listen to that man, Gautam Buddha will look, he might look like attached man and this person looks like a detached person. So when there is a difficult situation, first thing that happens is you turn philosophical. In an instant, you will turn superstitious. In an instant, it doesn't take a view, it doesn't take hours and days and all. It instantly you are philosophical. The next moment you turn superstitious, and this vague combination of superstition and philosophy, the person starts blabbering. He starts talking all things which he doesn't mean, which he doesn't understand. That's where when you are very philosophical, others laugh at you. It's very, very interesting, and you get very irritated because you are trying to convey something. So what you thought was a very good philosophy, and you want to convey it to someone, and they laugh at you, just as you are laughing at me now. Yeah, you start laughing. The other starts laughing. What is the reason? It's a very vague, weird combination which results in blabbering. For that person it will appear philosophical. For everyone else around, that looks very, very shallow, very hollow. They say, okay, it's okay. They will say, if after a few days everything will be alright, all your philosophy will go and you will come back to normalcy. They say, you will come back to normalcy because all philosophy goes. First thing that happens when you are in a crisis, Arjuna is in a crisis. The crisis of Arjuna, what is his crisis? Number one, he got into the battlefield with lot of hallucinations, with lot of vagueness. In one word, Krishna showed him the reality. The moment he understood the reality of the battlefield, instantly the real nature of Arjuna started manifesting. The second thing that happens is, when you get into something without an understanding of what you are getting into, this will be the result. You get into something, everyone gets into something, not knowing what they are actually getting into. And when they are exposed to that, when they are faced with that, they get frustrated. They get very irritated because they say, this is not what I expected. This is not what I wanted. What I wanted is something else, and life has given me something. You get into something not knowing what you are getting into. The tragedy is, when a man gets into something, he is so clear that what he is doing is the right thing. You cannot argue with him. You cannot talk to him. You can only say, Narayana, God be with you. That's all. What else you can say? You can't say anything. You cannot say anything beyond that. Because you get into something not knowing what you are asking for. They want a child, not knowing what they are getting into. As soon as the child comes, the first few years of infancy, very, very painful. They are only hoping when the child will grow, so that I can at least sleep. Because when you are asleep, the child is awake. When you can't sleep, the child sleeps blissfully. You wanted the child, not knowing what you are getting into, and when the child comes, you quickly want the child to grow. It grows, and at least if it becomes independent, where it can do its own things, you are free. And the child starts doing its own things. You get you are more worried now. You are more worried now. Because the problems of infancy looks much better than the troubles of teenage. That looks much better. Then somehow you wish the child quickly grows out of teenage into adult, and the child gets into adulthood, and then you feel, at least now it's all okay. And then something else happens. What? I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know, whatever it is. Something else happens. Then you wish, one day, leave everything and stay quite at home, peacefully. And when everything is gone, and when you have to sit at home peacefully, he wants to act like a teenager. Suddenly that man becomes very, very active, jumping around, start doing yoga, start doing this, and everyone else around says, wait, what are you getting into? At every stage you get into something. And when you get into something, you do not understand what you are actually getting into. Because the human has this tendency. The human being has this tendency. Decide first, conclude first, and then give reasons to support the conclusion. You cannot analyze, you cannot investigate with an open mind. You cannot. You have to conclude first and then give reasons. Arjuna decided that the best thing is to fight. He didn't realize what he is going to. Now when he got exposed to what he got into, he wanted to run away. And now he is giving enough reasons how correct it is to run away. Last week, when Krishna, not last week, not our last week, Mahabharata last week, when Krishna said, before getting into war, so much of destruction, bloodshed, fight, why get into so much of difficulty? First, let's broker peace. Let's go and talk peace. As Krishna was leaving for talking for peace, all the Pandava brothers called him in private and said, Krishna, we want war. You talking peace is only a formality, because in life there are so many formalities, no? When someone comes and you don't want that person to come, and you hate that person so much, but through that person something has to be done for you, therefore what do? Give what I want and get out. And only if the person straight away says, immediately you say, please, because these are all formalities. And Krishna said, all the Pandavas brothers said, Arjuna, the peace that you are going to talk is only a formality. Don't convince them so much that Kauravas will say, yes for peace. We don't want that. Krishna said, no, what can he talk? Yes. Draupadi, finally. She is the master class of. He says, you see, my hair for 13 years, it's not washed. How can you have hair 13 years not Oh, she must be troubled so much by that hair. She said, see, it's not unkept for 13 years. Krishna, when you are talking peace, remember my hair. Krishna said, I don't know what you guys are talking. I don't understand what you guys are talking. I go and talk for peace sincerely. If peace happens, I accept it. I talk for peace sincerely, and if peace happens, I accept it. Because in me, I don't know what it is to function in the way that you function. What is the way in which the ordinary human being functions? Decide first and then give reasons. Because what is deciding first? This deciding first is what is known as likes and dislikes. It's just likes and dislikes, that's all. There is no decision. It is just a powerful like or a powerful dislike. That's all it is. That's where, as an example, please remember this. A boy meets a girl and falls in love with the girl. Never ask him why. Don't ask him why, because he himself doesn't know. He might give 100 reasons, and all the reasons that he gives, you can argue and prove as wrong. Finally he will say, what? Finally he will say, Lamana, this is what I have decided, this is what I want, and I am convinced that this is the right thing to do. It's not a conviction, it is just a powerful like or a dislike that drives the thinking process. Out of this wrong way of thinking process, you get into action. Arjuna got into that action. What is that action? Battlefield. 3. Arjuna whole lifetime training is to slaughter. Arjuna's whole lifetime training is to fight. It's not that he was sitting in some Himalaya caves meditating and suddenly was brought into the battlefield. Not only that, his whole lifetime training was that he is the best, he is the legend. As he got into the field, he was the living legend, inspiring the whole lot of generations inspiring the entire generations for battlefield, inspiring the entire generations into archery. And that man, with all his training, got into something not knowing what he gets into. Because when you get into something, you carry a lot of, you do not get into something with a reality behind it. You get into something with your own hopes, with your own likes and dislikes. You get into it based on that. What happens when the reality of life hits you? You say, crisis, sir. Crisis. What is the crisis now? What is the crisis of Arjuna? Actually, war should have started long back. We should not be discussing week after week, because 13 years he was waiting for this. He was waiting for this particular war, and he was so ready to. What happened at that point? He says, it's a crisis now. It's a crisis now. It's a crisis now. What is the definition of a crisis? The definition of a crisis is a situation that you cannot handle. A situation that you cannot handle, you call it a crisis. Actually, there is no crisis. It is another situation. It is another situation, that's all. But you call it as a crisis. You call it as a crisis because of what? Because either you are not prepared for it, or you thought it will never happen to you. You see everybody making losses and you think it will never ever happen to you because you have taken enough precautions. You see everyone getting disease and you think what? Every day, sir, I make sure that I drink the right type of water, I exercise, this, that, and you assume that you can never get diseased, and just a common cold is enough to make you feel that you are going to die. You understand? You see things happening around you, but you do not believe that it can. You are also susceptible to the same thing. You are also vulnerable to the same thing. You don't realize that. The worst example is, the worst case scenario is, people go to a funeral and they keep looking at the worst case scenario. They go to a funeral and they keep looking at the what? Means what? Means quickly dispose, no, so that I can go back and do even, you understand? Not realizing that next moment others will be visiting you and you won't know that they are visiting you. When you are alive, they are not garlanding you, and when they garland you, you won't know that you are being garlanded. You don't realize. The Yaksha Prashna, that's what he says. Yaksha Prashna. Yaksha means apparition, Prashna, questions. Yaksha asks question and Yudhishthira answers. It's called Yaksha Prashna. In that, so many questions that he asks, and Yudhishthira gives on wonderful answers. Not in a மாதிரி ஒன்றரை மணி நேரம் டிஸ்கோர்ஸ்லாம் கிடையாது. Just one sentence, few words, that's all. And one of the questions that he asked is, what is the greatest wonder? What is the greatest wonder of life on this earth? What is the greatest wonder? Sir, old list or new list? Yeah, we will ask what? If he were to ask this question to us, we will ask. We are because we know both the list. Yeah. New list or old list? Because old list hanging gardens of Babylon, Egyptian pyramids. New list I don't know what is the new list. I forgot. Because after school now we don't know what is the new. And Yudhishthira doesn't know. He doesn't have general knowledge like how we are all experts. And he gave a different answer. He gave such a different answer. He says, the wonder is people see death all around and they don't realize that it can happen to them. They don't realize that it can happen to them. Don't take it as literal death. It's not the literal death. I'm trying to explain what crisis is. Carefully follow. It's not the literal physical death. That is the most illusory thing in life. There is no such thing called death at all. That man felt enough is enough and he left. That's all. There is nothing for you to cry. There is nothing for that. Why will he cry? He left happily. So we are not talking about the physical death. Death means change. Death means change. Every change poses a challenge to you. Carefully follow. Every change poses a challenge. And that challenge, you call it as crisis. That's all. What is crisis now? Nothing but the changes. Nothing but the changes. Again I repeat. What you call as crisis, what human being calls as crisis, there is no. That's where the wise one says, there is no such thing as crisis at all in life, Arjuna. What are you talking? Crisis, crisis, crisis. It's only a change. It's only a change. Are you able to follow? The law of life is, the principle of life is change. Agree, don't agree, accept, don't accept. The law doesn't change. All the human effort is to prevent the change from happening. All the human effort is directed towards what? Prevent the change from happening. Yeah. Prevent the change from happening. And more the effort you put, more unprepared you are for the change. Because the effort that you put makes you to believe that you are not susceptible for that. I don't know whether you are following or not. The effort you put to prevent the change, the effort you put to avoid the change, the effort you put to make sure that change will not happen as far as you are concerned, the very effort itself makes you vulnerable. Makes you vulnerable because every effort in the deepest core, what are you thinking? Change will not happen to me, sir. At least it will happen to others' family, but to my family it will not happen because I have made sure that it's all well secure. It's all well secure. It's all well secure. Suddenly something happens. And the whole carpet is pulled under the feet. At that time, you say you are faced with the crisis. You are faced with the crisis. Crisis na enappo? Thanga mudiyala, sir. So difficult to handle this. When this will get over? Will it get over at all? When it will get over? When it will get over? When it will get over? You go on asking, when it will get over? When it will get over? The change has happened, the crisis has gone away, and you are still keeping it alive. The crisis, you don't understand. The change has, because another change has replaced it. When I say that the situation has gone means another change has happened and the situation has changed. Therefore, Arjuna says, crisis. What is the crisis? A change that you are not willing to accept. That you are not, it is your unwillingness to accept the change creates the challenge, crisis. Because the change is not going to wait for you first and say, are you ready? Please accept. No. It doesn't. What is the change? Every facet of life. I gave that example last week. Again I am giving the same example this week. The stranger turns into a friend. Best friend, sir. Yeah, best friend. Soulmate. Yeah. Soulmate. We have been traveling together from 13th century we were traveling together. It so happened that he was there and I was here. Now we met. Something happened and the stranger turned into something else. And then something else happens and the stranger turns into an enemy. At that point of time you say, how I wish I never met that person. how good it would have been if I had never ever known there's a thing called Vedanta, sir. Yeah, how I wish. And the enemy, from stranger to friendship to enemy to stranger again, and life goes one full circle. Start as an invalid, in between you think you have become strong, you are independent, and then become invalid again, where others have to an extent where they have to take you and dispose you. Life goes one full circle. The moment you understand that there is no such thing called crisis at all in life, there is no such thing called crisis. Lastly, this is the most difficult thing. Lastly, when it comes to this challenge, when it comes to this change, there are only two ways of facing it. There are only two ways of facing it. You can face it blissfully, cheerfully, with laughter, or you can face it criticism, complaining, fearful. Again I repeat, third possibility doesn't exist. What is the third possibility? Escaping doesn't exist, because wherever you go, it's going to, wherever you go, you are there. No. As long as you are there, crisis after crisis will come. You have to face it. The last thing is what? There is a situation, what you call as a crisis, a challenge, a difficult situation. There are only two ways of facing it. One way is to face it cheerfully, blissfully, like he says, as a sportsman takes to sport. He takes it blissfully. As a sportsman takes up to the sport. More the challenge, greater is the enjoyment. The other way is facing the challenge, facing the crisis, facing the difficult situation with either fear or criticism or complaint. If you are fearful, if you criticize, if you complain, you go deeper and deeper. You follow what I am saying? Therefore, Krishna is telling Arjuna, he is going to tell, not now, he is telling Arjuna, the challenge, Arjuna, is only two. Either kill or get killed. That's all. Either kill or get killed. The third possibility of running away doesn't exist. It's not there. The third possibility of escapism doesn't. And today, humanity has found a very good way of escaping. In the name of religion, in the name of God, they escape. That's where you find no spiritual person has the courage to stand up and take up a deal with the situation. They fall. They turn into all the philosophy, all the knowledge, all the conviction, all the courage simply disappears in front of that whatever you call as crisis. உங்களுக்கு வந்தா தெரியும் சார். Very easy to talk. Only when you are faced with it, you will know whether you are facing it with laughter, with cheer, or fearful, complaint, criticism. My job here is only to speak. You can't ask me, are you that, are you practicing இதெல்லாம் கேட்க கூடாது. My job here is only to speak, and I speak as though I know everything. But yeah, how do you face it? What is the last thing? You cannot avoid it, you cannot run away from it. It will happen. Changes happen. You can face it with laughter, with cheer, or you can face it with. That's where you see, the moment you are faced with a crisis, people do only three things. Either fear. If you are afraid, you will become superstitious, you will go to a horoscope man and ask him when it will. The Elra has started. When it will end. And he said, Elra after Elra தான் சார் உங்களுக்கு. It doesn't stop at all. When you are fearful, you become superstitious. You run away. You run behind some vague thing, thinking that it will give you strength to. That's what they say. History in the crusades, in the war, literally it happened. They were losing the battle. You know the history. There is a war called the crusades, the fight. When they were losing the battle, suddenly one man woke up in the middle of the night and said, I dreamt. All the others said, what is it? What is the dream? Jesus Christ came into my dream and told me to go and dig at a place. They all said, what? Let's go and dig. And they found a small piece of a tip of the spear. This is it. This is the spear with which Jesus was poked when he was on the, he was put on cross, no? At least you know that, no? Jesus Christ was crucified. 6 hours later, because it's sundown, nobody wants to stand up in the top of the mountain sundown. So one man took up a sphere, a long thing to check whether he is dead or alive. He poked and he declared that Jesus Christ is dead. That's the tip. Jesus Christ has given us this spear so that we should fight for his sake. The Crusades won the war. The Crusades won. After everything, they went up to him and said, what a holy man you are. Because he came to you in the dream. He said, I have a confession to make. Some tip I only put there. You become superstitious, and it's not only you, anything. That's where you find every wartime situations create so many superstitions. So many crises. Wartime situation means superstitions. First thing is you become fearful. If not, you complain. What is the complaint? I don't deserve this. I didn't do anything to deserve this. Not only, sir, you know how much of good things I have done. I have done so much of charity, and I don't deserve. You complain or criticize. What is the criticism? There is no such thing as justice at all, sir, in this world. There is no such thing as righteousness at all. You see people around, how are they? You criticize. never will you know how to tide over it. Never you will know how to cross over it. You cross over it in such a way that it never comes back to you again. See, crossing over means through knowledge and understanding you cross over that so that it never visits you again. It never visits you again. Otherwise, visit after Arjuna, you find doing all the three now. Suddenly he will be exposing his fear. Suddenly he will become superstitious, and suddenly he will be complaining, and all the three put together, people understand it as very philosophical. What is today's philosophy? Philosophy equals fear plus superstition line. Fear plus criticism plus complaint. That's all. And they think it's very philosophical. And verses 31 to 40, you find Arjuna highlighting this. You find Arjuna highlighting this. Is it okay? A crisis, a change that you are not able to, a change that you are not willing to accept turns into a challenge, crisis. That's all. The moment you accept it cheerfully, blissfully, that is Krishna. That's the life of Krishna. Never you will find a dull moment in his life, but throughout his life he was faced with challenge after challenge after challenge. But you will never find him. If all gods are known by their destructive weapons, you draw a Trishul, you understand? Shiva. Bow and arrow, draw a flute, Krishna. Yeah. You just paint one peacock feather, you say Krishna. All gods come with destructive weapons. Krishna alone comes with peacock feather, playing a flute, dancing, saying. Blissful life. Why have you turned it into a crisis? Because of what? Your inability to accept. Acceptance doesn't mean you stay quiet. You don't fight it. You accept it and then first accept. That's where talk to those who have battled terminal diseases from the deathbed. Read their stories. They all say one thing in common. What? I accepted. It's not that they didn't do anything. They say, I accepted. In that acceptance, you develop a clarity. In that acceptance, you develop a clarity. And that clarity helps you to deal with it so easily. You will never have a problem. Idu puriyalana, read the history. Read people's experiences. Terminal disease. When the doctor says, avladhan, take them back. Take them back. And then they come out battling it. And you ask them, they all say one thing in common. What? I accepted. Very difficult is to accept, because you will resist it by saying, how can this happen to me? How can this happen to me? How can this happen to me? As though you are the center of the whole thing. The person thinks that the ego, the egoistic person, the ignorant person keeps himself as the center of the universe. The egoistic person keeps himself as the center of the universe and interprets everything around himself. Simple example. When I decide to go out, appadan sir, sun gets too hot. Rest of the time as though it's very. When I decide to go out, traffic jam. Rest of the time roads are free. I decide to go to temple, annikin paatha everyone. See, each and everything that happens around, he has to interpret as though either for him or against him. Again I repeat, the ego keeps himself at the center. Keeping itself as the center, it interprets everything. How it interprets? Either for it or against it. How can this happen to me? How can this happen to me? How can this happen to me? When you are asking how can this happen to me, you are not asking a question. Please understand. Whenever you say how can this happen to me, please understand, you are not asking a question. You are saying this should not have happened to me. You are not asking a question. And people think they are asking question. When anyone comes and asks, how can this happen to me? Don't start answering. Don't start giving a discourse. Anniki Vedanta class they said, then 20 years back, he said this, 45 years back. Don't start a discourse, because that person is not asking a question. That person is making a statement. What is the statement? How can this happen to me? This should not have happened to me. He has already decided what? It should not have happened to me. Now the question is, why? How? Any reason you give, any answer you give, it will not satisfy. If you are also exhausted, you will say, Illam prarabdha karma they have said. Oh, abdiya pada prarabdha sir. Orthodox people, they still keep using that word. Whenever even in the Orthodox community, the present generation, we don't use these words. When those old aunties and all come, idenode prarabdha they say. Meaning what? Crisis. Either Arjuna not taking it up cheerfully, blissfully, because it's a challenge that he has to. In the deepest sense, every situation that you face is your own asking. Every challenge that you face, every situation that you face is your own asking. This war that Arjuna was placed, who asked for this? Arjuna only asked for this. Krishna didn't ask for this. And then in between you will find Arjuna talking to Krishna as though Krishna wanted this fight. Suddenly he will say, Krishna, if you want this kingdom, tell me. I will fight for you. I will fight for you, give the kingdom to you, and then I will do what? That's what Arjuna is. Prahasanniva Bharata, he says. Throughout the whole thing, you see Krishna, Prahasanniva means laughing at him, smiling. What the foolish talk? What is the foolish talk? He asked for this change, he asked for the situation, and when he is faced with the situation, he is saying, like I was telling the boy last evening, I said, you only was so desperate to marry this girl now. How can you leave her now? 2 years, son. Just 2 years. How can you leave her now? No, sir, I made a mistake. People make mistakes. Should I not learn from my mistake? Logic is, I said, it's okay, but what you will do is, you will find another, and you will do the same thing, but you will not You will not learn anything. Adil I made a mistake, sir, but in this I am very careful. அந்த ஷேர் வாங்கும் போது I made a mistake, but now Shankar, so much of investigation, so much of this thing, I bought the share. Even before he clicked the button, crashed. RK sir, avarku crash aayithu. Even before he clicked the button and it has not even transferred to your name, the whole thing is crash. Every situation that you face, all the situations that you face in life is your own asking. Take it or leave it, doesn't matter. No sir, but I didn't. You might agree, don't agree, accept, don't accept, doesn't matter. And this is not a debate club. You can't keep saying but because this is not a debate club. Take it or leave it. What is it? The situation that you face is your own asking. Since you have asked for it, might as well do it cheerfully. No, might as well do it cheerfully, because escapism is not possible. As it is, the situation itself is a crisis, and you complicating it, making it much more difficult. The tragedy is, that's where when people come to you asking for help, you can only do firefighting, because 85% is already burnt. Nothing can be saved. You can only save what? You run away and save yourself, because you come for guidance when what they call as firefighting. What is firefighting? You can only save yourself. All the rest you have to understand the background of Arjuna's mind. With this background, understand these 9-10 verses of Arjuna. And verse by verse we'll quickly go through, because it's not so, there's no big philosophy in that. The background is the psychology is so important, because in the verses there is nothing much to explain. That's why I keep spending some time on the mind of Arjuna and quickly go through the verses, so you understand the flow. Clear?
One thing is, you said that if we face the challenge correctly, the challenge will not come again.
Yes, it will not come again.
And the second thing is, like, now we know that most of the things we have asked for, whether we have to digest it.
Yes.
Though we don't understand.
Correct.
So there's two things happening. One thing is the challenges are coming back again.
Correct.
So needs you're not tackling needs correctly.
Correct.
And second thing is, now that I know theoretically what the challenges are there, I know I'm not tackling it, but I have X amount of intellect. I try to make use of the knowledge that I have, and I proceed. What more can I do?
Correct. What more can anyone do? First thing, when a crisis comes, when a challenge comes, we close our eyes. When a crisis comes, when the challenge comes, we don't stand up to face it. We close our eyes and pretend as though it doesn't exist. As though it doesn't exist. And we think that is the way of tackling it. It has to come back, because you have not tackled it. You have just pushed it. You have just pushed it under the carpet. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. Again I repeat, when you are faced with the crisis, the immediate instant thing is one of trying to pretend as though it doesn't exist. That's where instantly you turn philosophical to make sure that you turn so philosophical so quickly, so fast to make sure that you don't see it clearly. You don't see it clearly. Now what is intellect? What is intellect? Penetrating capacity. What is intellect? Penetrating capacity. To that extent you have penetrated, to that extent that aspect will not come back. That aspect will not come back. Might as well, maybe something else might come. You follow what I am saying? What is intellect? Intellect is that penetrating capacity. It's that penetrating capacity. To that extent you have penetrated and understood, that portion of it will not come back. It cannot come back. That's growth. That is spiritual. That is what we call as spiritual growth, spiritual evolution. So as you keep evolving, it will not come back. If it is coming back, means fundamentally you have been resisting it. Fundamentally you have been throwing it away. Fundamentally you are turning blind to it by saying what? This can't happen to me. This can't happen to me. This can't happen to me. What's happening to me is not true. What's happening to me is not real. What's happening to me is not real. There are people who do that, no? And then real trouble they think what? How I wish I wake up and find the whole thing was one dream. You go to sleep, in the dream also the same. In the dream also the same problem comes. Yeah, neither you can be awake, neither can you fall off to sleep after that. Therefore, when you say it's coming back, it means you have not yet penetrated. Or, in those aspects you have penetrated, it will not come back. Therefore, what one can do, you can only go deeper and deeper and deeper. You can go deeper and deeper and deeper. This process is called analysis. This process is called analysis. The word analyze means breaking it up into parts. This is called analysis. The word analyze means breaking it up into parts. You break it up to an extent where you develop your penetrating capacity to an extent where actually nothing exists. Then you look back and say, oh my God, how I have been imagining all this now. Will you start imagining again? That's all. You follow what I am saying? That's all. Analysis. Intellect is that which analyzes. Penetrating capacity. Now what is penetrating capacity? Means just the ability to analyze. Now in a classroom like this, what are we trying to do? It's a loud display of how to analyze. That's all. How to analyze. Because the word analyze means breaking it up into parts. That's why they say break it up into parts. 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 To an extent where Ramakrishna says analysis is like peeling onions, he says. He says it's like peeling. You peel to an extent where finally nothing exists. At that point of time, you start laughing at yourself. You start laughing at yourself. What is the laughter?
There was nothing and I made a big mouth.
Avladha. This is, if only you can come to this conclusion. When you are in a crisis, when you are in a difficult situation, if you can analyze and come to this conclusion and laugh at yourself, where, in a sentence, say that again.
There was nothing and I made a mountain.
Avladha. Where there was nothing, I made a mountain out of it. Enna mountain? Not St. Thomas Mountain. Adilum, Himalayas. Mount Everest you made. Ordinary St. Thomas Mountain na kuda paravailla. Then it will never come back, because what you have understood. Such a very normal, ordinary situation that you could have handled it, you made it. You made it so. Now comes the ignorance. Now comes the philosophical way of looking at it. Ignorance has to complicate. Wisdom keeps it simple. Correct, no? Ignorance has to complicate. The wisdom keeps it simple. Yeah. Wise man says, Tattvamasi. That's all. He keeps it very simple. Ignorant man, class after class, Sunday after Sunday, nothing. You follow what it is to analyze? What is penetrating capacity means? You analyze to an extent where you just laugh at it. Laughter because at your own foolishness. Now remember the statement. At this point of time, recollect. It's worth recollecting it. You can do this for another man's problem. That's where when another comes to you, you can analyze it, blow it up and say, there is nothing there. What are you crying for? And that man looks at you and says, what are you talking? That's where he keeps on saying, we are all very good philosophers as long as the problem is others. You also laugh at it and you don't penetrate into it. But I have made a rule long back, not now, long back, I made a rule that anything that is said in laughter, in jest, there is a law in it. It's not a joke. It's not a joke for time pass, because the greatest of messages can be conveyed through laughter. You can't make it serious. The greatest of messages. Then I went back and thought, and what is it that makes a person do the same thing? They are all very good philosophers as long as problem is another man's. You say there is nothing there. No, because you can penetrate so deep, you can analyze so deep and say what? Why are you making it a big issue? You know, that neighbor's child said, literally it happened to me almost 1.5 years back. I have to go to, every Thursday, I go to Chitra Sundarajan's house for class. And from the road to her house is 1 kilometer. You have to walk. So I park the car on the road and I walk. There are children, small, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, cycling and playing. And as I was walking past, they thought they are talking very soft to themselves. But they were so loud. And I heard it. Because they are talking about me. I like to overhear everybody. That's national hobby, no? So I also did that. What they were talking? Hey, Parda, Motta Vandatar Kirpi. I couldn't control my laughter. When I heard that, I couldn't control my laughter. I stopped and I looked at that boy and said, "Nada sunna?" That boy got so scared. 2 other girls came running. Uncle, 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 sorry uncle, sorry uncle, sorry uncle. Yanda katti sonna, sorry uncle. They are scolding her and pacifying me at the same time. Couldn't control my laughter. This is the situation. Motta will be called. That's all. Yeah. Supposing someone says, Arvindan, Allah hair irke ungalku nada, something wrong. Yeah, wrong. I go there and if I say, பசங்களுக்கெல்லாம் ரெஸ்பெக்டே தெரியல. They don't know how to respect elders. That to a holy man walking in to give the knowledge of Gita, to serve the humanity. You will look at me and say, பரவாயில்ல சார், விடுங்க சார், இன்னமும் சொல்லிட்டாங்க சின்ன பசங்க. You can do the same thing for another. When someone makes a remark about you, what happens? You can't penetrate and see it and laugh at it. Only when you laugh at it, you can ignore it. Please understand that. Why this laughter is so important is because only when you laugh at it, you can ignore it and say, children. Then only you can ignore it. If you do not know how to laugh at it, you cannot, because it looks so big. Question. Challenges are coming back again and again and again. What do? I have used my intellect. Still it is coming back. Now she changed the condition. I didn't use my intellect at all. Yeah. First she said, there was a challenge, I used my intellect and it is coming back again. What is using the intellect? Penetrating it to the core, where you can rip it open up, where there is nothing inside. And when you see it so clearly, a burst of laughter. In that burst of laughter, what you do? You just bala, children, they don't know. Otherwise, even though they call me like that, me being a wise man, I am ready to forgive them. It means you have not yet it means you have not yet understood. It means I have not yet understood. Are you able to follow? How do you penetrate and understand? The proof that you have penetrated means at the end of the analysis you will not have a headache. At the end of the analysis you will burst out. That's where they say enlightenment, the state of enlightenment, you burst into a laughter. You will not cry, you will not mourn. You burst into laughter, you burst into dance, you burst into cheer. Why? Because where there is nothing, you have been, you blowing it up. Why do you blow it up? Now technically understand. எல்லாத்துக்கும் நிறைய ஆங்கிள். Mind exaggerates. The nature of the mind is to exaggerate. Mind can understand anything only through. Mind means exaggeration. It has to exaggerate. Joy it exaggerates, sorrow it exaggerates, pain it exaggerates, pleasure it exaggerates, success it exaggerates, failure it exaggerates. Mind means exaggeration. Intellect says, bring it down. You are exaggerating. அதுதான் where you made a Where there was nothing, you created a Mount Everest out of it. Are you able to understand what the mind does? Mind is that which exaggerates. Exaggerates joy, it exaggerates sorrow. It exaggerates pain, it exaggerates pleasure. For a pinprick injection, people faint. There are people who faint at the sight of injection. Pinprick. What is an injection? Pinprick. How can you faint for a pinprick? And then people, where is the pain coming from? Mind. What aspect of mind? That nature of mind, that tendency of the mind to exaggerate. It exaggerates and it will get frightened about its own exaggeration. That's why they say mind is a insane thing. It will exaggerate and it will get frightened about its own exaggeration. Now comes the intellect. Now comes the penetrating capacity. It analyzes to the core, rips it open up, and then says there is nothing inside. You laugh at it. Ergo, how do you know that you have analyzed correctly? How do you know that you have penetrated deeply? When you can laugh. What they call as the eureka moment. In that eureka moment, you see that man, what will be his expressions? What is happening in him? He's so burst with laughter. He's like, why are you? You understand, no? Eureka moment. You know what eureka moment is? You know? Who doesn't know eureka moment? The story behind it. Long back, Archimedes. Archimedes is eureka? Starting trouble தான் கொஞ்சம் அப்புறம் story becomes correct. அதுக்கப்புறம் okay. The king was presented with the golden crown, full of intricate artwork. Was presented with the gold crown, and the king had a doubt whether it is true gold or not. So he called the scientists of those days and said, how do I test whether it is gold or not? One way is melt it, you will know, but then you lose the art. So how to keep it without destroying the gold and still know whether it is true gold or not? And Archimedes was given this task. He was trying, nothing worked. One day, enough is enough, at least let me have a proper bath one day. Solving this problem, I didn't even have when you are so much caught up, you can't have a proper bath, you can't eat, you can't do anything. And one day he decided, at least let me have a proper. So he was lying in his bathtub, relaxed. When you are relaxed and bathe, what will you do? Don't tell us, sir. What the children will do when they are relaxed, bathing? What will they do? What they will do? They will create soap bubbles. They create soap bubbles, no? You see them. When children go and take so much of time to come out, now you understand. They are making soap bubbles inside and playing with it. And Archimedes was doing soap bubbles. Suddenly he jumped out of the bathtub, started running towards the palace, shouting, Eureka! I found out. He was so much in cheer, so much in laughter, so much this thing. And everybody stopped him and said, where are you going? Going to meet the You are going to meet the king. Like this you are going to meet the king. Because from the bathtub, straight running, he will be wearing a 3-piece suit, no? He was naked. This is called Eureka. We have seen the images of Nataraja dancing. How he dances. How he dances. Nataraja. Enlightenment. Analysis to the core, where you burst out in laughter and start dancing. Don't dance here. Taniya room lo panni. What is it? And how he dances. How he dances. You have seen the images, no? Hair flying all over. One leg in one direction, another leg in. How he is balancing, only God only knows. And he is dancing, the dance of enlightenment, the dance of having developed that penetrating capacity. What is that penetrating capacity? Where there is nothing, you create something, and that threatens you so much. Frankenstein, the monster, came to kill the creator itself. This is what you do. Challenges keep coming back again and again and again because nobody analyzes it. They try to push it under the carpet and believe that, and they keep telling themselves what? All is well. All is well. He said, you are inside the well. Where is all is well, all is well, all is well. Nothing will be. Develop that penetrating capacity to an extent where you can, or you know that you have analyzed correctly when you can laugh at it. That's what you find. Verse number 10, chapter 2. Sanjaya is saying, all along when Arjuna was talking, Krishna was Prahasanniva Bharata, he says. Prahasanniva Bharata means Krishna smiling at Arjuna. Smiling. Because this man talks as though he has developed the penetrating capacity. And what is the end of that penetrating capacity? What is the end of all your analysis? What is the end of all your analysis? Incapacitated to act. At the end of the analysis, I say, but I don't know what to do, sir. Allow a man to talk. When someone comes to you with anything, just allow him to talk. 7th minute, 8th minute, they will tell you, what? I don't know what to do, sir. Please tell me. But then you will not allow that man to come to that point. Even before he concludes the first sentence, you are ready with the answers. Yeah, just as the man said, I don't know what question you are asking, this is the answer. Once it happened in the group discussion in the academy. So, see, at that time there were about 12 of us. So every group discussion, everyone has to answer. And everyone answers, he takes notes. He will be sitting in the center taking notes. Aravindan, he will write. This one, he will write. So difficult is to even sit there. And one boy, Swamiji, I don't know what he is asking, but this is my answer. He burst into laughter. We couldn't control laughter. He said, continue the answer, continue the answer. He made him speak for 10 minutes and he was so eloquent. And then finally he got exhausted and looked at that boy and said, now what is your question? That's the highlight. Now what is yours? After all the answers. Allow the person to Just allow the person to talk. He will talk. He will not talk for hours and hours together and he will not talk. 4 or 5 minutes they will talk. 7th minute they will say, now I don't know what to do. At that point of time you don't start your lecture. You say, I also. You don't know, I don't know, so you do what you like, I do what I. What does analysis means? The word analyze means breaking it up into parts to an extent where nothing, you analyze to an extent where the problem gets dissolved. The problem is dissolved. At that point the proof that you have analyzed correctly is, at the end of the analysis you burst into. Will it come back again? Will that challenge comes back again? Will that crisis? Because you have laughed it off. It will not come back. Something else will come. That is a different story. But this crisis will not come back. And then you can't understand crisis after crisis, analyze panilla, you can't understand. Therefore, the better way is what? When things are more or less alright around you, don't wait for a crisis to start all this. When things are more or less alright around you, develop penetrating capacity, so that when you are faced with the challenge, when you are faced with a crisis, in a flash you can see through it so clearly, so incisive it is, so much you can penetrate straight away. Then you are free. Is it okay? Arjuna got a pove mudilla. Not able to go to Arjuna at all. A crisis, a change that you are not willing to accept turns into a challenge. Challenge intensified turns into a crisis. And what is it? Nothing but a situation that you have. I asked for it. It has come to me. Let me embrace it. Now there is no problem. Christ embraced the crucifixion without any problem. Socrates drank poison. Socrates embraced poison without anything. Oh, great philosopher like me, Athens will be burnt to ashes, because he didn't curse the city of Athens. He simply, you embrace it because it is your own creation. Just as you embrace your child because it is your own creation. The challenges, the situations is your own creation. Therefore, when you are faced with it, what do? Come my child, and as you welcome your child, welcome that and embrace it. Embrace it to an extent where it will not come back again. There you become free. This freedom is what in Sanskrit they call as moksha. This is what is called as moksha. This is what is called as liberation. It never comes back.